Hey, eighth grade. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Happy Monday. This week and last week, we are working on storytelling. And you did some writing last week. You read a lot of stories. You listened to some of those moth videos. Storytelling, that's what the moth is, storytelling. A lot of those stories. So, Mrs. Ash discovered the moth and as a podcast, and people just come on and tell their stories, and they're interesting. So Mr. Ash and I often go to storytelling events around town, and Ex Fabula is one and the moth is the other. And storytelling is really important in the native tradition, but it's just important to humans as well. When I had you compare and contrast some of those written text to the video text and what the difference was. A lot of you, I wrote back to in the comments that oftentimes we have family stories that we've heard told over and over and over and over again. And if you think about those stories, they're never the same. Think about this story that your mom, when she starts to tell it, you're like, oh my gosh, I've heard this story a million times. And every time she tells it, it's always different. Or you think about Mr. Ronnie Preston, whenever he tells us some of those traditional stories, they're never the same. Every single time he tells the same story, it's always a different version. And that's just the nature of storytelling. A lot of the stories that I shared with you came from this book right here, All These Wonders. Um, Neil Gaiman does the foreword here. So this one is available in our classroom if we ever get back there. But I want to talk about this exercise. So this week we're going to continue with our work with storytelling. You'll be reading stories, listening to stories, and telling your own stories. But I really want to focus on being word collectors this week and continuing to expand our vocabulary. So in your assignment today, you're going to watch this video and you are going to learn about the difference between connotation and denotation. Many of you are familiar with connotation. We're just going to dig a little bit deeper. And for some of you, denotation might be a brand new definition for you. So after you watch the video, you'll learn the difference between these two words. And the basic definition, denotation, is kind of like the dictionary definition. If you looked up the word chicken in the dictionary, you might see a picture of a chicken, and it's a farm animal bird that has feathers and lays eggs. That might be the denotation, the dictionary definition. But the connotation, you have to think about how the word is used in context. So it can be very different and have a really different meaning used in context. So if I said, I had chicken for dinner last night, you're not going to, you have one image in your mind. But if I said, we went to the farm and I saw a chicken running around, you have a different image in your mind. And then if I said, oh, come on, just jump off the high dive, don't be such a big chicken, has a totally different connotation. So those connotations, they can be positive, they can be neutral, or they can be negative. So the directions today say the word bank below contains words used in today's moth story reading assignment. Choose 5 words and use an online dictionary to determine the word's denotation, and then decide on the word's connotation and place a check in the correct column. So if you look down here, you can see that here's our word bank. So you're going to choose 5 of these. Some of them some of them might be brand new to you, like epitome or tether. Some of them might seem a little bit easy, like insane. But if you think about the word insane, it has a denotation. We know what it means, the dictionary definition. But the connotation of how the word is used can be so different. If you asked me, oh, Mrs. Ash, how was that concert you went to last year? And I was like, oh my gosh, it was insane. Has a totally different connotation if, well, the psychopath murderer was insane, has a totally different connotation. One has a positive, one has a negative. So you really have to look at the words in context of the story that you're reading. And that's what I want you to do today. So I did the first example right here, and I chose this word epitome. It's one of my very, very favorite words. So I did the first one for you. Epitome is a typical or ideal example. So for the denotation, you'll have to go to an online dictionary, or if you have a book dictionary at home that you want to use, that's fine too. But the first thing that I did was opened a new tab, and I just put epitome and searched for it, and we'll give you the definition right away. I like this here because it gives you how to pronounce the word. Because if you come across this word and you've only seen it and you've never heard it, you might say um, epitome or something totally different. But the word is pronounced
epitome.
Epitome. I like how she says that in her little accent.
Epitome.
Epitome. But every time I read it, and before I heard it said, I always pronounced it wrong. So I always like to hear how the word is pronounced as well. So a person or thing that is a perfect example of a particular quality or type. And then I just scrolled down a little bit and I went to the Merriam-Webster site and I saw a bit this definition right here. A typical or ideal example, the embodiment. So if I said Mark is the epitome of the perfect student, that means he's an ideal example. Or if the way the word is used in the moth story, let's see, where's our moth story for today? Oh, I thought I had it up here. Here it is. He uses it right here where he says, oh, okay. We would stop the rental car by the side of the road, and my father would make me go out and change tires, whether the car needed it or not, because in his mind, knowing how to change a tire was the epitome, if you say it like the lady in the dictionary, the epitome of manhood. So, what is the, embodiment of manhood? If you know how to change a tire, you are a man. So that's how epitome is used there. So what you'll do, let me go back to our worksheet here. A typical or ideal example. You'll choose 5 different words from the word bank. Look up their denotation either in a hard copy of a dictionary or an online dictionary, and then decide the word's connotation. Is it positive, neutral, or negative? So for epitome, I thought it was kind of neutral. I really struggled with thinking about the connotation of the word in general because you could be the epitome of perfection, and that definitely has a positive connotation, but you also could be the epitome of a scumbag, and that has a negative connotation. So I went with neutral here. So you'll do the same thing with the word bank, words from the word bank today. And then the second thing I want you to do, you should have all signed up for book clubs. Either you are reading, let's see if I have the list up still. I think yeah, 8th grade virtual book club. So you're either reading In the Tall Grass by Stephen King, Orbiting Jupiter, Ghost, or Mamba Mentality. I read the other 3, so Mrs. Ash just started reading Mamba Mentality. So whatever book you're reading, I want you to keep a running list of new and interesting vocabulary words that you come across as you're reading today. You can see Mrs. Ash's brain, yours might not look like this. I did mine in my notebook. But you can see, meticulous, and what else did I? Rapport, minutia, exacerbate, meticulous, dichotomy. So you can see that I wrote the word and then I wrote what page number where I found that word in case I have to go back to it later. So in addition to completing the denotation and connotation activity based on our shared reading, I also want you, in whatever book club book you're reading, make sure you read for at least 15 or 20 minutes more if possible, but then just have a notebook beside you while you're reading and collect some new and interesting words and be ready to share those. You'll need them for an assignment later on this week. Please email me, call me, text me if you have any questions about any of the assignments this week. And I hope that you are all safe and well and enjoying your reading that we've been doing. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.